today? I trust we're all good. It's been a while. How is our day going? I trust we're good. So, on this very night live stream, we want to talk about prioritizing our mental health. It's actually time to prioritize our mental health at our workplace. And interestingly, today is actually the World Mental Health Day. So, I believe that it's going to be a great moment together. So if you're here for the first time, why not click that subscribe button, get to subscribe. I look forward to that day where this very channel becomes your most favorite click. So for now, without making further ado, I would like to go right into the discussion for tonight. Alright? So for tonight's discussion, as we say, it's all about we prioritizing our mental health. And please, if you're just connecting, if you can get me very well, let me know in the comment box, please, that can get me. All right, let me know, please. Let me know. If you can get me very well, let me know in the comment box. I'll really appreciate. I'll really appreciate if you can let me know in the comment box. Thank you. I can see every one of us. I can see everyone connecting. Just let me know in the comment box before going to the main discussion that you can get me. So I won't just be talking to myself, alright? So if you can get me, let me know in the comment box, please. Alright, I want to believe we're already typing. I want to believe we're already typing. I want to believe we're already typing. Thank you everyone for connecting. Thank you everyone for connecting. Alright, so mental health, which is just an aspect of, let me take this one for now. Mental health, which is just an aspect of health, because according to WHO, it's defined, the health is defined as the state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being of an individual, not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. So, mental health, it's a subclass, a subdivision, an aspect of health. And if this aspect is not met, then health it's actually not complete. So it's very essential we consider our mental health. Interestingly, we spend more time about our social well-being, we spend more time on our physical well-being, we spend a couple of time investing on uh, other aspects of life, but when it comes to mental health, we don't really spend sufficient time. Please excuse me, let me adjust something. We don't spend sufficient time to attend to our mental health. And then the issue with mental health is that when it crashes, it comes with a lot of complications. All right? Why do I say so? If you want to know that something is wrong with your head, you need your brain to know that. If you want to know that something is wrong with your legs, you need your brain to do so. But where the brain itself, who does the interpretation, which does the interpretation, is actually affected, then what now tells the body that there is an issue? We get? So you now need another brain. And that's why we must prioritize our mental health. Because when there is a mental breakdown, it becomes an issue of serious concern. It's an issue of serious concern. So, what are we saying in essence? With regards to our discussion tonight, I would like to go on some of those background just to buttress some of the points. Then we now go fully into the discussion, all right? So, it's important for we to know that when it comes to mental health, there is really no standard criteria or standard definition, all right? Because mental health is actually compartmentalized in the sense that different professions, different society, different organization, different bodies have what they see to be normal. All right, and so what may be normal in this society may not be normal in the next society. What may be normal in this organization may not be normal in the next organization. Hence, what we can define to be mentally healthy in one society may not be mentally healthy in the next society. What do I mean in essence? For instance, there are society where the female are expected to actually pay for the bride price of the male. And also there are society where, yeah, thank you so much, Blessing. Thank you so much for connecting. So there's society where if you react in a certain way, they'll consider you to be mentally unwell. And there are also society where, yeah, thank you so much. Thank you everyone for connecting. The society where you are, even the male or children and so on, they're expected to select their gender. There are society where different things which may be normal in this society may not be normal in the other society. And hence the definition or the consideration of one being mentally healthy is actually compartmentalized. Hence, there have been a series of definitions, there have been a series of criteria that we need to check before we move fully into the discussion. Let's look at what WHO say about mental health. In 1951, WHO defined mental health as a state of full and harmonious functioning that is based on set standards. All right? So, the full and harmonious functioning that is based on set standards. And these standards are actually set by the society, as we earlier said, set by different bodies and so on. And then Jehoiada in 1958 actually said that mental health is an adjustment of human beings to the world and to each other, and then with the maximum of effectiveness and happiness. To say that mental health can be defined as an adjustment of individual, of human beings to the world they find themselves, to each other, with the maximum of effectiveness and happiness. So where you cannot adjust, or where you adjust and then you are not getting happiness, then it is said that mental health is not in place. Yes, according to Jehoiada 1958, he said that it is that adjustment of human beings. For you to be mentally healthy, it means you can be able to adjust to the world, to other persons with the maximum of effectiveness and happiness. So Jehoiada was actually considering mental health that it has to do with adaptability. All right, he was looking at the aspect of adaptability, meaning that your ability to adapt with every presenting circumstance is what makes you mentally healthy. When you adapt with a degree of effectiveness and then happiness, that is said to be, you are said to be mentally healthy. And then Kiza in 1971 came up with another definition. Kiza said that mental health can be defined as a state of mind in which people can effectively carry out their activities with certain satisfaction to themselves and a sense of responsibility to others without making nuisance to themselves and other persons. Ajuri, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you so much. All right. So Kiza in 1971 said that one can be said to be mentally healthy, or mental health can be defined as a state of mind in which people can effectively carry out their activities with certain satisfaction to themselves and a sense of responsibility to others without making nuisance to themselves. And then, yeah, we're actually considering prioritizing our mental health at the place of work. Prioritizing our mental health at the place of work. And then we're actually giving the background. So it's the background we're actually trying to give at this point. So first we have to know what is mental health before we now shift to talking about if mental health should actually be given a place, if mental health should actually be prioritized. All right. So having taken this one, we say that it's a state of mind which people can effectively carry out their activities. All right, with certain satisfaction. Meaning, if you carry out activities and then you don't get satisfaction, anything you are doing and there is no satisfaction, means that it is actually affecting your mental health. It means that you are not actually fully mentally healthy as at that point. And then, with a sense of responsibility to yourself, without also causing nuisance to other persons. Meaning that whatsoever you are doing, you know, there are people that say, I don't care whatsoever other persons are saying. There are people that say, I don't care whatsoever other persons do. In fact, I'm living my life to my own, how would I put it, to please my own self. So at that point, you're actually not mentally healthy according to this definition, because you mustn't cause nuisance to other persons. At any point you are actually causing nuisance to other persons, it means you're actually mentally unwell. And then Abraham Maslow, who is one of the foremost psychologists. Abraham Maslow is, for those who may not have heard about that name, is someone who came to look at the needs of man. He's known for the hierarchy of the need of man. He came to put together what are those things, and can a man actually get to that point where you are totally satisfied? Can you get to that point where you can say you are self-actualized? So he now classified needs from the point of basic needs. He moved to from basic needs to safety, security, and from them love and belonging. And from then he now moved to the point of security and self-actualization, then aesthetic needs, and so on, transcendental, and so on. Now, yeah, man's need is actually unsatiable, exactly. So Abraham Maslow classified this need in hierarchy, and for some books or some write-ups, you see it up to 8 and up some 5, some just end at 5, and so on. So what he classified, it actually classified from the point of physiological need, where your air, the need for air is there, the need for water, the need for food, and so on, even including the need for sex and so on. They're actually your physiological needs. There are those ones, without you satisfying this need, you can't move to the top need. And then he pushed from there to the aspect of safety aspect, where that one talks about safety in terms of shelter, in terms of you looking for safety and security, in terms of you looking for shelter where you can have accommodation and so on. That you can't move to the point where accommodation becomes an issue for you when you can't get common food to eat. Because if you don't get food, you won't think of accommodation. If you are not dressed, you won't think of accommodation. So if you don't get oxygen, you won't think of accommodation. So accommodation, transportation, and every other thing comes in place when the physiological needs has been met. And then you now move that when you now get accommodation, you live in a secure environment, people around you, they love you and so on. That is when you can now look for love and belonging, where you want to be identified and so on. And then when you get this need, you will still need, there are still higher needs, such as the point where you need to that point where you feel you are self-actualized, you want to actually help other persons, you want to be known and so on. And from there you now talk about, yeah, thank you so much, Vicky, thank you for having here, so nice to have you here. So you now move from there, you talk about the aesthetic need. Now at the aesthetic need, he's talking about you looking at variety and so on, your ability to, your environment. You see, from time to time you get bored with what you find as at that point, and then you want to rearrange the house, some things you want to throw them away and so on. Now Abraham Maslow was the one who came up with this theory, and along he's trying to come around come up with this theory, he now look at it from the psychological perspective. That was when he came up with the definition of mental health. All right, and according to Abraham Maslow, he actually equates mental health with one being self-actualized. So Abraham Maslow said that you're actually mentally healthy when you reach that point where you're actually self-actualized. Please, if you're actually getting me, let me know in the comment box. I don't know if my network is actually disturbing. It seems so. If you're getting me, please let me know in the comment box, so I will not just be talking and then the network have locked me out. Please, if you can get me, let me know in the comment box. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much. All right. So Abraham Maslow now equates mental health with self-actualization. And sorry, please, a moment, just a moment, please. Just a moment, please. All right, I'm almost there. I'm almost there. Yeah. Okay, I think I'm back. All right. So he was saying that he actually equated mental health to the point of you being self-actualized. And for instance, in the African setting, it's not easy for one to even attain this point where one can say that you actually self-actualize. Why do I say so? Before you get to the point of self-actualization, in fact, average population, we are talking about age age 45, age 50 and above, because you have to meet up all earlier things I've mentioned. Okay, so he was saying that you have to reach that point of self-actualization. He then describes self-actualization. This is what Abraham Maslow describes self-actualization to be. That he described it as being psychologically healthy, fully human, highly evolved, and fully motivated. Now, you have to be psychologically healthy, you have to be fully human, you have to be highly evolved, and you have to be fully matured, according to Abraham Maslow. That for you to be said to be mentally healthy, that you must come to that point where one will say that you are psychologically healthy, you are fully human, you are highly evolved, and then you are fully matured. Now, for persons who may want to ask, let me break it down what he actually means for one to be psychologically healthy. If you can remember the first definition, where we're talking about you being able to carry out your activities of daily living, everything without causing nuisance to yourself and so on, with a degree of effectiveness and so on, that is you being psychologically healthy. That is you being psychologically healthy. That's point where psychologically you can process things, you can process the impulse from your environment, you can process the impulse from your internal and external environment. That's you being psychologically healthy. And then you being fully human, it means that you are not defamed, you are not infirmed. I think that's the right word. You are not infirmed, meaning that if one should check your body, every part of your body, your organ system are actually complete. Now, you now talk about highly evolved. Highly evolved. Thank you so much, Ajuri. Thank you so much. Now, in the aspect of you being highly evolved, he is looking at the perspective of one that with any circumstance that presents your way, you can actually adapt. You can switch at any moment and adapt with any condition that presents you, whether favorable or unfavorable. So when they say, for instance, someone lost a loved one or lost his or her job, that do not weigh you down for so long. That is you fully evolved. Or maybe someone disappointed you, then your ability for you not to break down totally is you being highly evolved. And then fully matured. Fully matured now, alright, I don't need to break that further, because from the aspect of that fully mature, we should know we're talking about maturity. Okay, so we're talking about the aspect of maturity now. He believed that you have to be healthy, self-actualized individual. Then actualized, I'll take some points, but the truth about it is that if you check generally, this is just an absolute state. It's actually an absolute state. Why do I call it an absolute state? It's because you can be psychologically healthy, but if one check, you are not fully matured. If you can be psychologically healthy and fully matured, but if one check, you are not evolved. You can be evolved, you can be mature, But if one check, you're actually infirmed, you have a body organ that's actually missing. So this point is just an absolute point. That was what some of his critics brought up. Hence, he now went further to give us some criteria that will make one healthy. And maybe I'll take this criteria before we now go to the aspect of your workplace. Before we go to your workplace, what were those criteria he looked at? He looked at one, an appropriate perception. That is one, appropriate perception of reality. An appropriate perception of reality. He's now talking about you looking at things the way they are. Your ability to look at things just the way they are. Not so we know that, for instance, in the African setting, there are things that work with you. Say you'll be forced to say this thing looks like it's a spiritual something. Please, if you are still with me, let me know in the comment box. If you are still with me, let me know in the comment box. So there are points where things happen, you just say this thing looks like it's spiritual. But he's saying that you have to have an appropriate perception. Yeah, thank you so much, Vicky. You have to have an appropriate perception of reality, which is your ability of seeing things the way they are, not outside what it is. Yeah, thank you so much, Ajuri. Now, where I saw a post one of those, they say we grow up to accept things the way they are, and that is why things just continue the way they are. For instance, we're told that once things appear this way, it is black, and when things are this way, it is white. We have never questioned, and that's why we never got some answers to things. We never question things. So if they told us this is black, we accept it as being black. If they told us this is blue, but we haven't asked. Yes, exactly, Ajuri. So we haven't asked why are things this way and so on. So he is saying that look at things the way they are. So we use our senses of thought to interpret reality, and if there's any alteration in normal functioning of this, then it means that it is inappropriate. So Abraham Maxwell is saying that any point where you can't see things the way they are, then you are not mentally healthy. The second criteria I look at is the ability to accept oneself, others, and the human nature. The ability to accept yourself. Now, there is another angle too to look at this. You know that there are people that wants to please other persons in place of themselves. And then there are people who are pushed at the other angle to please themselves and they don't care about other persons. And then there are people that don't have passion about nature. So, for instance, that's why the government talks about forest reserve and so on, forestation and so on. So your ability to accept yourself the way you are. If you see any deficiency, you take it that is how nature has made it, and then you make an effectiveness. You optimized what God has given to you. So if you are tall, you optimized your tall physique. If you are athletic in body belt, you actually optimize it the way it is. If you are for those who have not gone through, I actually talked about the classification of humankind into different body belts and so on, and possible mental health illness that you are prone to. So for instance, if you are short, which I will call brief, if you are brief, rounded, and then you are hyperactive and so on, if any mental health condition, if you fall into any, let's say, psychologically unwell, if you are psychologically unwell with your shape and size, we can tell the possible psychological condition that you fall into. I made a video of that. For those who are just here for the first time, you can actually check that up. All right. So what I'm talking about is the aspect of you accepting the way life have made you to be. Yeah, thank you so much, Ajuri. Thank you so much. So you are accepting the way you are. So if you are brief and short, make the most of it, and not being jealous of other persons, or not trying to please other persons just to be accepted. So you accept things the way they are, and then you don't over please yourself, and then just to displease other persons. So point two say ability to accept oneself, others, and the human nature. Then point three, he said that the ability to manifest spontaneity, which we can remember from the previous definition. All right, spontaneity in this sense means your ability to respond to reality instantly. So when they say you have lost something, you grieve in that moment, the next moment you move on. When things are going well, you are happy. We know there are people that things are going on very well, but they don't find satisfaction, they don't find happiness, and so on. That is not you being spontaneous. So any little thing that come, it can weigh them down for a very long time. So from this criteria, it's saying that you are actually not mentally well. So he said your ability to manifest spontaneity, which is in situations of emergency, you respond to things immediately and act in every emergent occurrence or situation appropriately and correctly. This tells that your five senses are actually in place, they are not altered. Your sense of taste, your sense of sight, your sense of feelings, your sense of that is hearing. So all these senses, they are actually in place. They need to be in place for you to manifest spontaneity. The fourth one is your ability to perform, sorry, your ability to focus your concentration on problem solving, where if things happen, you are not just carried away by what is happening. You're actually looking at the solution with everything that comes your way. So if issues comes up, the next thing is, what do I do next? So if it is what if it for, so if it was in a family setting where a challenge presents itself, what do we do next? Instead of you over emphasizing the challenge that is presenting, the next step should be, what is the way out? That is the fourth criteria that shows that you are actually mentally healthy. The fifth one says a need for detachment and desire for privacy. A need for detachment and desire for privacy, which is a state of seeking for loneliness and quietness. Abraham Maslow is saying that at some point you need some time of retreat, which is what most persons don't consider. So you see, everybody are always on the go. They don't give themselves time to withdraw back and analyze life. For instance, the year is almost wrapping up. Some persons have not gone back to look at their plan, to look at the goal they set for the beginning of the year. What have I not achieved? What have I not done? What do I need to do more? What have I not been doing well? So the ability to detach, seek for privacy, is actually what will give you that privilege to analyze things, to push further, and to achieve more. So that ability to seek for privacy, that ability to detach from others from time to time, is what makes you mentally healthy. The sixth one say independence, autonomy, and a resistance to enculturation. Independence, autonomy, and a resistance to enculturation. So a stage of life where it is a stage of life where decisions or choices are made to suit self due to maturity, and doing so without the resistance of others and what you don't consider appropriate to yourself. What do we mean here? You know, there are set of persons that people will say, ha, this one na mommy's boy, this one na mommy's boy, or this one cannot function on his own. Everything, it depends on other persons to make judgment and so on. He can't make decision of his own. That means from Abraham Maslow point of view, that individual is not mentally healthy, it's not highly evolved, it's not mature enough. Okay, so you must be able to make a decision for yourself. You must be able, there's a word that said you don't follow the bandwagon. So your ability to, at some point, you make your own decision, you stand by your own decision, is what makes you mentally healthy. And the seventh one say an intensity of emotional reaction. That means when things happen, don't just totally move on as though nothing happened. Sometimes you have to express the emotion. Don't bottle up your emotion. Express them. Let people know, or express them. Don't bottle up. That's just the summary of what that point is saying. And the eighth point is saying a frequency of peak experience that validates the worthiness and the worthwhileness, the richness and beauty of life. That means from time to time you need to sometimes award yourself. You need to sometimes appreciate yourself. Sometimes maybe in forms of you getting something valuable for yourself, maybe clothing, maybe shoes, maybe take yourself out from time to time, just for you to say that. If you remember the definition we gave earlier, if you remember, so ability to accept yourself and so on. So this is one of the criteria for one to be said to be mentally healthy. So from time to time you award yourself, which if you check generally, most persons don't have that time to award themselves. They're always busy with daily life activities, always busy with trying to meet up with tasks, trying to meet up with goal, but the goals they have actually achieved, they don't have time to reward themselves, to say, ah, you have tried, myself, you have tried at least to this extent. Okay, having understood that, that will take us to the ninth point that Abraham Maslow considered for one to be mentally healthy. The ninth one say an identification with humankind. An identification with humankind. So we have, if you have heard of words such as fleshlighty and other forms of sexual deviations, this one is mostly in the aspect of sexual orientation. So there are people who actually uh, they have how do I put it, cravings for the younger ones. They have cravings for animal kind. They have cravings for things that are inanimate and so on. Some including dead bodies and so on. Abraham Maslow is saying if you see these very conditions, this individual is not mentally healthy. The individual is not mentally healthy. So you must be able to identify with humankind. All right, and then we know when we talk about humankind, we know what it simply means, opposite gender and so on. All right, so the 10th point according to Abraham Maslow for one to be mentally healthy is that your ability to achieve satisfactory interpersonal relationship. So you are not cheated and you are not cheating other persons. So if you are in a relationship where you are only the person making effort and the other person is not making effort, then you are actually in position where you are actually jeopardizing your mental health according to Abraham Maslow. So it must be a mutual kind of relationship, not just a parasitic relationship, not just a commensal relationship, but a mutual relationship whereby it is a 50-50. You give, you take. Okay? So everybody makes effort to in that very relationship. That is what Abraham Maslow classified as being mentally healthy. Then the 11th point is a democratic character structure and strong sense of ethics. All right? So he emphasizes the acceptance of others' concept and not regarding self-concept as the best or universal. What this point is talking about is that where you are in a group of persons or in an organization and so on, your own point is not always the best point. Sometimes you need to ask other person's opinion. From time to time, your own point, your own feelings are actually not the best of it. You need to find out other people's opinion about a particular aspect of life. And with that, you are said to be mentally healthy according to Abraham Maslow. And then the 12th point is creativity. From the 12th point is your ability to bring out something out of nothing. Your ability to bring out something out of nothing. Your ability to logically and inquisitively bring out something different from what is the standard or what is the normal. If you remember what I said earlier, you can remember I said there are persons who they just come, accept things just the way they are. They don't even want to question things. Abraham Maslow is saying that you must be able to think out of the box for you to be said to be mentally healthy, you must think things out of the box. You must look at things beyond what they just are, all right? And then the 13th point, which will be his last criteria for one to be mentally healthy, is a degree of non-conformance. A degree of non-conformance, which means that it's not all rules and regulation you must conform to. So there are points where you must come to say, I'm not okay with this thing. I'm not okay. Whether in the place of work, whether in a relationship, whether in the family, and so on. If decisions are made that doesn't meet you, remember we say your ability to function and carry out your activity effectively and then with a degree of satisfaction and responsibility to yourself without causing nuisance to other persons. So your ability also for you to get satisfaction to yourself and then not cheating other persons. All right? So a degree of non-conformity will make one actually mentally healthy. Now let's drive it now from all these points to the place of work. The struggle for survival has been a basic need from my perspective, from a deep point of thought, a deep point of sober reflection. Man, from point, in fact, even inside the womb, human beings have always craved for survival. Charles Darwin looked at it from the point that it is life is actually seen from a lens of survival of the fittest. Now, looking at that his theory of survival of the fittest, he wasn't looking at you having all the genes, having all the wealth, having everything at your disposal. Because we have seen persons who are actually from wealthy homes but will end up in second, third generation, everything will squander away. We have also seen persons who have all the talent, but opportunity does not meet them well. All right? We have also seen persons who are very beautiful and so on, everything, but they are lacking in one point or the other. So, the aspect of the survival of the fittest is looking at you being able to compete with other species, meaning that every species that can actually compete effectively, adjust and manifest spontaneity are the ones that will actually survive. That is Charles Darwin's point of survival of the fittest. All right. So it has been a basic need to survive right from the womb. So you see the sperm, they competed and so on before a single sperm actually won the race. And that very sperm will grow up facing different challenges even to the point of birth. And at the point of delivery, we all know it can be a 50-50. Either the survival of the child or the survival of the mother or the loss of all or the survival of both. So it has always been a competition. And then that child from point of birth keeps struggling till he grows up. And then one of those ways to meet the basic needs, all right, for survival is actually the workplace. That's point where one actually starts working. And then the workplace now, for the workplace, I'll look beyond just a certain place where you go to. The workplace could go to, because in our days we have workplace that includes people working remotely, which means you are working at your comfort zone, which might be your home, it might be your this thing outside, it might be the boss, it might be anywhere. All right. So although the broader view would be you in the office or a certain place, okay, so but let's go beyond that. All right. So what are we saying? When you are actually at the workplace, a couple of those workplace, it encompasses certain relationship that may be interpersonal, intergroup, and so on, or including intrapersonal. All right. Intrapersonal in the sense that between the individual, interpersonal between one person and the other, intragroup, which may be between the one group and the other group. There tend to be certain degree of competition between the different policy, different sets, goals, different standards, and so on. Now, with each of them comes certain demands. And with these demands, there is that competition with our mental health. And that's why when one wants to consider the place of work, you must put a couple of things into perspective. Does it satisfy that point where you need to get certain degree of withdrawal to self, to get retreat, to get rest? So you now have persons who will work all day without having time and moments to rest because they want to meet that basic need to survive. Then we now have certain persons who will also try to meet up in the struggle, in the quest to get a lot of social life balance. And then the job or work life is actually suffering. So how do you strike that balance that your workplace doesn't affect your mental health? That is why we are here. So please, if you have any question, any suggestion at this point regarding this topic, please drop it at the comment box. Do you think it's necessary for one to prioritize their mental health with regards to their workplace? You have Where you are having a boss who is so demanding, doesn't appreciate you, doesn't see your effort, doesn't see whatsoever you are bringing to the table, doesn't see whatsoever you are bringing to the organization. Do you still continue? Does it have an implication on the mental health? Where you are trying to meet certain targets, you don't even have time to take care of your nutritive requirements, you don't even eat well. Does it have implication to the mental health? Please start dropping your opinion in the comment box. Let's start discussing at this point, all right? Where you are also, there are jobs where you can be doing and you work for 5 years, you work for 10 years, you work for 20 years, but at the end of the day, you don't have something worthwhile to show forth for what you're actually working for. Does it promote mental health? Does it really promote mental health? So this night we want to strike those balance. So let me know in the comment box. I want to believe that we can get me at this point. I want to believe we are still here. If you are still here, let me know in the comment box. Let me know in the comment box. Let me know in the comment box. And then we know that times are hard. We know that the economy itself is getting very, 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 very corrosive. And then you are working in a system where you are putting all in my people used to say "Utumo bono kanako." Now what that simply means, it means that the work is actually bigger than the pay. The work is bigger than the pay. So you can work in an organization where you are exhausting yourself, but the pay is nothing to write home about. Does it have implication to the mental health? So please let me know in the comment box. Let me know in the comment box. All right. So whereas one need to survive, does it mean that you must kill yourself? Does it mean that your mental health must be put on the line? No. There needs to be that point where you strike the balance. There needs to be that point where you consciously need to strike the balance. An instance, what are those incentives that must be put in place for your mental health? Yeah, thank you so much, Vicky. Thank you so much, Blessing. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for still having us here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, let me see. I think I need to refresh my. So, because I'm. Oh, okay. I think I can get us now. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for still staying by. So, what are those possible incentives? Vacation. And that's why most government jobs, they look at creating time for you to go for annual leave. In fact, some organization makes it compulsory that you must go on annual leave because we still have persons who can sell out their annual leave. Yes, if you haven't heard about that, the organizations where you are allowed to sell out your annual leave, meaning that they will pay you for that month double of what they are supposed to pay you. I've done that before. I have worked in organizations that do that. You work For that month, you will not be paid just for what you have worked. You are going to be paid twice of what you work for in that particular month. You are going to be paid twice. Sorry, a moment, please, a moment, please. Hey, so hello. I don't know if you can get me. Are we there? It seems my network went off. Please, if you can get me, let me know. Let me know, please. Oh gosh. This is serious. This is serious. This is serious. This is serious. How do we do now? Sorry, I don't know what's wrong. I really can't tell how to sort this out now. Oh gosh. I don't know what is happening here. Please, if you can get me, let me know, please. Let me know, please. Oh, my camera just went off now. Okay, I think I'm back now. I think I'm back now. All right, thank you, everyone. If you can get me very well, please let me know in the comment box. I think I'm back now. I suppose I'm back now. If you can get me, let me know so that we can continue, please. All right, thank you so much, Blessing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, so we're saying there are places where you can even sell off your annual leave, and then with this, you'll be paid double. But does it have implication? Yes, it does have implication. It does have implication because at the later on, your health will tell for this. And the thing about mental health is that your mental health don't just crash. It doesn't just crash in a day. Most mental health implications they actually compile, they accumulate over the years, over the years, over the years. An instance of one of those conditions is burnout. And burnout syndrome is a condition that is related to work. Burnout syndrome is a condition that's related to work. It's actually a stress disorder. It's a stress syndrome. It's a stress syndrome. And one of those negative symptoms in burnout is actually depression. One of those negative one, depression. That individual also have the point where it becomes unnecessarily aggressive and so on. And that's why one needs to look at his or her mental health. Take mental health very serious. Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you so much, Lisa. So glad having you here. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, Lisa, thank you so much. I went on a a long vacation. YouTube gave me a mandatory vacation. Oh, YouTube gave me a mandatory vacation. Like I was supposed to. Some persons were requesting videos from me, and then I was supposed to make some of those videos, but because of the time frame, it was shorter for me. So I needed to make to go live for one of those topics, which was sleep and sleep disorder. I was supposed to talk about it, and then I went live. I tried several. I was supposed to go with someone else. I tried severally. It wasn't going through. So I now tried the individual one. The individual one was not going through. After several attempts, that I'm restricted. So, my dear, after that restriction, or just being mindful of everything. In fact, emoji these days, I'm even very. I may come to your live stream if you are actually on a silent live stream. I'll just let you know that I'm around, and then I will not drop emojis again because I don't know what I've done to what I've done to YT. I really don't know what I've done to them. That the recent strikes are even just so tiring for me. They're just so tiring. But anyway, we'll just still keep pushing gradually. So we're talking about of one taking rest from work, because there is what is work related syndrome. And another incentive that some workplace put in place to ensure that burnout syndrome is being avoided is there is what we call sit out. Yeah, thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you so much for having me here. There's what we call sit out. So some persons can actually, or some organization, I also work in organization too, where they keep time for members to, some person call it get together. They meet, and then it's more or less recreational in nature. Yeah. It's actually intact. Oh. It's actually intact. I think by next month, one of my strike will go off by next month. So I'm even more cautious these days with things I do, because I don't want to actually come down with any strike again. So some persons, some organization makes it, they put this incentive in place that they have get together from time to time. They'll meet, they play football, music, and so on. I've worked in some of those organizations. It's a way of also meeting up with the mental health requirements. And then it's also important to let us know that salaries increments are part of the incentive that tends to promote one's mental health. What do I mean in essence? Imagine you working in an organization for 5 good years, and your salary there is no increase. That vibe to actually push further will be reduced. You do not have that vibe to push further. You don't have that vibe to bring up creative ideas, creative opinions. Thank you so much, Marilyn. Thank you so much for having me here. God bless you, Marilyn. So, salaries increments are part of the incentives that needs to be put in place to ensure that the mental health of staffs are actually not jeopardized. All right. And then what are other things that also needs to be put in place for one's mental health to also be put in check? Promotions. Now, do you know that most times, even though your salaries are increased, but you don't get promotions. Now, what do I mean in essence? In a government settings, with every year you move to the next step. With every year you move to the next step. Now, with each step you move onto, there is a package allocated to it. Now, not minding not minding the number of steps that you get to, even though you get to step 14 and then you don't get promotion to the next level, my dear, you will get bored one day. You don't even know the day that everybody, in fact, around you, they start displeasing you, including your superiors. You just start keeping enmity and so on with your superiors. Because promotion is another strategy, it's another way, another means for which the mental health of staffs are actually put in check. So that means job owners, employers needs to put a room, because human beings actually built with the need for variety, to move, to get something new. They need to perceive something new, they need to see something new, they need to do something new. So when they are always doing, or they are always in one position, they become bored and irritated with it. And that's why things like promotion are put in place, so that your staffs get this psychological comfort that yes, whereas their salaries are increasing, they are also getting promotions. And that's why I like in government settings that beyond the fact that with each step, which is with each year you move to the next step, with each level you advance onto after promotion, there is also an appreciable level of salary increase. And then what are other things too? Some allowances can be given, like in the military, there's what we call travel allowance. Travel allowance. And then in the politics, we have what we call wardrobe allowance, we have health locations, and so on. Also, do you know that there are some organizations that don't have insurance scheme in place? There are organizations that don't have insurance scheme. They don't have things that when one health is actually jeopardized, at least there could be, we call them hazard allowances. There could be compensatory measures to compensate these individuals. If there are things, if things like that are not there, then one will not attain this mental stability. So there need to be things to be put in place for the mental health of individuals in that organization to be enhanced. All right. So, for instance, I've said the travel allowance, the wardrobe allowance, the this and that, and so on. And then, Do you know that at some extent, where fellow staffs they have functions, they don't also have members to turn up for them. So how do you now get that satisfaction? Because human beings are actually socially and emotionally built or configured. So that means that some some social this thing functions should be incorporated into the job settings, the workplace, so that where you have functions, at least when you turn around, you see persons attend your function. It will give you this sense of perception that you actually loved. Because from if you followed us from the beginning where we're building the background, one of those needs of man is love and belonging. Love and belonging. So with this, it will help to optimize the mental health of staffs. Okay, so insurance scheme. Now, just to for those persons who are just connecting, just to recap for them, we have talked about things such as promotion, salaries increment, health insurance scheme, travel allowances. Um, we also talk about sit outs or get togethers and so on. Now, there is another one which most jobs, in fact, let me be sincere with us. I've worked in organizations where if you talk about that you want to go to school, they're already looking for you to send you off that very job because they feel that you will not have time. Whereas um, there is a word for a sabbatical. Yeah, that's the word for a sabbatical leave. Sabbatical leave should be incorporated into jobs so that individual have opportunity to also grow in the job, because that opportunity to learn new skill, to learn new training, new vocations, and so on helps you to be there is a word for it, to be what's that word for it, it helps you. Please, if you are still here, you can also help me in the comment box. What's that word? There's a word for it. You being able to have multiple skills. There's a word for it. There's a word for it. I'm just trying to recall. Okay, let's move on. When you have these new skills, it helps you that when this challenges in different angle, including the goals, you can actually tackle those goals in different ways. You can tackle them in different ways, so not just in one way. All right. So some of those things should be put in place. Haven't come to this very point. Please, if you have questions, please you can start dropping them in the comment box. And if you have recommendations, you have suggestions, please drop them in the comment box. Drop them in the comment box. I believe that next 30 minutes at most, that is at most, we should be done with this live stream. In the next 30 minutes at most, we should be done with this live stream. You have questions at this point, you have suggestions, you have recommendations, please drop them in the comment box. Now, haven't dropped some of those possible suggestions that will help individuals to attain a mental stability. To attain mental stability, I think there's one more I need to also put in place. Policies should also be put in place so that staffs and members should not be victimized. We have organizations, especially the military realm, where the subordinates actually victimized. You don't have a say of your own. This, at a greater extent, works against, it jeopardizes the mental health of their subordinates. So policies should be put in place so that one person do not victimize the next person, so that every person can be open to put suggestions, to put forth, to bring in creativity. Can you remember, according to Abraham Maslow, one of the criteria for one to be mentally healthy is your ability to manifest creativity, right? So how do you manifest creativity where your opinion is not regarded? Nobody value your opinion. Nobody wants to hear what you can bring to the table. How do you function well in such organization? How do you put in your effort? How are you going to be creative in such organization? So policies need to be put in place so that some persons are not victimized, and then so that the clients too don't work on the right of the staffs. For instance, in the healthcare setting, we have heard some complaint where the doctors are beaten up, the nurses are beaten up, and so on, where even the employer, they don't even take the complaints of their staffs. Because there is a rule that say customer first, and so because it's customers first, members are even considered like trash and so on. Please, policies must be put in place to checkmate that the right of both the client and then the staffs are actually being held at high esteem, because one needs to be seen that they are being respected, that their opinion is being respected, is being valued, for them to actually function well at the workplace. So such policies should be put in place. Now, what are the negative consequences when all these criteria were put forth are not being put in place? Please, if you have an opinion, share them in the comment box. Let's make it engaging, please. If you have opinion, let me know in the comment box. What are those things that would be the possible outcome? We have burnout syndrome. If jobs are so stressful that members don't have opportunity to get rest, to at least have some level of social life, you could see burnout syndrome coming. Where you work and work for several years, there's no promotion, there's no salary increment, there can be possibility for depression to set in. So we have talked about one, burnout syndrome, two, depression. What is the third one? Where individual staffs are working in environments where their opinion are not regarded, they are being victimized, everybody is against them. You could have issues with anxiety. You could have issues with low self-esteem. You could have issues with individual having inadequacy syndrome. All right, where individuals seems as though whatsoever they do will not and can never be accepted, will never be regarded. All right, so individual staffs become anxious before their superiors. So before they call you, you're already thinking, what have I done? What have this one my boss is calling me. Hope I've not done something wrong. Hope I'm not going in for a query. Thank you so much, Marilyn. Thank you so much for having me here. This one my boss is sending for me. He's serving me this letter. Hope I've not done something grievous. So those anxiety syndrome will come in, and one cannot function well when there is anxiety. A couple of times, I think in some of those videos I've posted, I've shown us that with anxiety, you can't process your thoughts very well. Hence, you can't function very well, because with high adrenaline secretion, your brain cannot think creatively. It is rather thinking in terms of emergency rather than creativity. All right. So what are other possible things that could happen? There could be work-related violence. There could be work-related hazards that could come out of it. So hence, the mental health of staffs should be considered, whether as an employer or an employee. All right. So what is the role of this very live stream? Is to encourage the employer to encourage the employees that no matter what they are doing as per their work, they should put in place, they should prioritize their mental health, because amongst the compartmentality or the compartment of health, the criteria to be healthy, mental health is one of the most significant, because if you are not mentally stable, you can't function well at your workplace, including your families and other aspects of your life. Remember, I started by saying that according to WHO, they consider, which is World Health Organization, health to be the state of complete physical, mental, social, and spiritual well-being. Not merely the absence of, yes, exactly, not merely the absence of disease or infirmity, not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. So, job satisfaction, exactly, thank you so much for that word, job satisfaction. Job satisfaction would never come to fruition. Job satisfaction will never be there if all the things, all these incentives you have mentioned are not put into perspective. You can never have job satisfaction. You will never have job satisfaction if all these incentives you have mentioned, they are not put into perspective. Hence, employers, employees, they must consider them. And that's why, what would be my recommendation as employee? If you are going for a job, whereas you need to survive, whereas times are hard, ask one of those questions. I made a video on that. You want to go to, maybe you want to seek job outside your comfort, outside environment that are very far from home. What is the food in terms of their nutrition in that environment? You must consider your nutrition. In fact, I've said this a couple of times, which is scientifically proven that the brain consumes the highest degree of electrolytes, of nutrients, of glucose, much more than every other organ. Next to the brain is your liver. Next to the brain is your liver. And so you need high degree of glucose to function well, to carry out your daily activities. So where you are actually working and then your nutrition is not put into perspective, you won't function well. So are there times for breaks? What types of food are available there? Especially where, even though you are it's close to your environment, especially where you are someone that is highly selective, where the environment is a completely new environment, can you cope with the food there? Then the aspect of housing, can you be able to cope? The salary at the end of the day, will it carry housing, carry other demands, and then you can still have what to save? Why do we say? Mostly because emergencies too can come in, not just because of progress, but emergency too can come in. So when you are working and then you don't have a save for emergency, then that job is more or less like you saying you're actually in a modern times slavery. All right? So, what are other things you need to consider? The language system. What are other things you need to? Thank you so much. What is I think Ini Abasi, Abi Abasi, Abasi. Oh God, remind me your name, meet. Remind me your name. Yeah, thank you so much for having you on this live stream. We're talking about prioritizing our mental health in the workplace. Yes, Abasi Idiyake. Okay, Abasi Idiyake. Thank you so much for having you here. It's so nice having you on my live stream. God bless you. God bless you for checking by. So we're talking about prioritizing our mental health at the workplace. So you must ask yourself, can you rapport well? In fact, we have workplaces where this thing which is not supposed to be there is actually there, which is what? Tribalism. Tribalism. We have workplace where this sect would form a sect to themselves, would form a group, and then they are against the next group. That does not promote the mental well-being of the members. So we are supposed to be seen as one. We're supposed to work as a team and not as a sect. All right? We're supposed to work as a team. We're supposed to work as a team. So you must ask yourself, can you cope with the social stratifications? Can you cope with the dialects? Can you cope with their religion? Can you cope with everything? And that's why, for instance, people who are from the Christian society want to move to settings such as Dubai, you want to move to the Islamic countries. You must ask yourself, can you adapt? For instance, you want to move to the Asian country or maybe India, for instance, you must ask yourself, can you adapt to that culture? Because it's not just your survival, but your adaptability. Remember when we talk about Charles Darwin, when you talk about the survival of the fittest, these are all things that plays role in your mental health. All right. So as an employer, ask yourself, can you work with this salary? Is it, there is this saying I used to say, or people say it too, that at the end of the day, there are most work that they take home cannot even take you home. They take home cannot even take you home. So you must consider other requirements like your housing, your transportation, and every other thing. And then what is left? Can it take you home? What if emergency come up? Can it be useful enough? In terms of your progress, can you use it to grow? Vocationally, can you grow? And so on. So those things must be put into perspective. They must be put into perspective. So what are other things you must ask yourself? The working dynamics, the working hours. Can you cope with the number of hours they work? Remember I mentioned one of the words where I say the work is bigger than the pay. In terms of the working dynamics, is the pay commensurate to the working hours you are doing? Some of those questions you must ask yourself. You must ask yourself. And then there's another sociological dynamics you must consider is the relationship between the members at the same level, boss and the employee. You must ask yourself, can you cope with it? If it's not promoting, move on. Exactly. So I haven't heard all this. Do we have any question? Please start sending in your question in the comment box. I really appreciate. About wrapping up in the next 8 minutes, we should be wrapping up. In the next 8 minutes, we should be wrapping up. Please, any question, any suggestion, any recommendation, let us know in the comment box, please. Let us know in the comment box. Do you think there is need for us to prioritize our mental health at a workplace? Do you think that mental health really plays a role when we talk about workplace? What are those roles? What are your suggestions? What are other ways that can help optimize the mental health of individuals? Someone mentioned, I think Blessing mentioned job satisfaction. What is the role of job satisfaction with mental health? In fact, satisfaction is actually a psychological state. Satisfaction is a psychological state. And a lot of things comes to play for you to be satisfied. There can't be job satisfaction without a lot of factors that comes to play. Most persons consider the incentive, such as salary increments, promotion, responsibility, sabbaticals, get together, the working dynamics, the sociological dynamics, and so on, for them to get that very psychological perception of them being, or of them gaining job satisfaction. All right. So please, if you have suggestion, you have recommendation, anyone, let me know in the comment box. Please, I'm still here with us. In the next 4 minutes, we should be wrapping up. Next 4 minutes, please. You can send in your question, you can send in your recommendation, and so on. I really appreciate. If you are just coming in for the first time, you haven't subscribed, please do well to click that subscribe button. All right. And then when you have any topic you want us to discuss as it relates with health or mental health, please let me know in the comment box, or you can go to my community tab, or you go to my video. Let me know in each of them, any video and so on you want me to make. Let me know. I really appreciate. And for those who have actually been able to stay from beginning even up to this very point, trust me, I really appreciate. Trust me, I sincerely appreciate. It means a whole lot to me. It means a whole lot to me. I really appreciate. God bless us all. God bless us all. Please, if you have any question, please drop it in the comment box. Drop it in the comment box. Whereas, I'm glad to let us know that today is actually the World Mental Health Day, where WHO set it aside for us to talk mental health, to think mental health, to celebrate mental health, to make plans and goals towards mental health. Thank you so much, Blessing. Thank you so much for still having me here. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for still having me here. In the next 3 minutes, we should be done. Please, any suggestion, any recommendation, any topic suggestion, let me know in the comment box, please. Let me know in the comment box. I really appreciate our questions. I appreciate our suggestions at this point. What do you have to say about this live stream? Was this topic helpful? Was it useful? Was it timely? Was it necessary? Let us know in the comment box. What is your How do you feel about this very topic? How do you feel about this very discussion? Let me know in the comment box, please. Let me know in the comment box. I would really appreciate. Do you think the discussion was useful? Do you think it was necessary we talk about this at this very point? Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for connecting. In less than 2 minutes, we'll be wrapping up. Yeah, thank you so much, Blessing. Blessing says it was actually educating. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I feel so elated to know that it was actually educating to you. God bless you. God bless you. I don't know how many other persons are still here. How many other persons are still here? Let me know in the comment box. How do you feel about this discussion? Was it useful? Was it educative? Was it timely? Let me know your opinion in the comment box. Let me know if you have any suggestion, any question, any recommendation, please. Let me know in the comment box. We have less than 2 minutes to wrap up. I'm so grateful to have us here. Please. Thank you. Thank you. We have 1 minute to go. So I'll be making other videos on health related topics as well as mental health related topic. And so if you're a lover of health related content, then this is the right channel for you. There's the right channel for you. If you have any request for any video as related to health, you can let me know at the community tabs or any of the video. I'll really appreciate. I'll be at our service. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone. I think at this point, we're about calling it a day. Thank you, everyone. I want to really appreciate. Thank you for staying thus far. It meant a lot to me for having every one of you here. At this point, we want to call it a day. If it's night at your point, I wish you a restful night. And if it's daytime, I wish you a beautiful day ahead. Happy World Mental Health Day to everyone out there. And for all mental health staffs that are out there working to ensure that clients who have one mental health challenge or the other actually mentally healthy or gets to the point of rehabilitation to either their near or their full functional state. I want to celebrate you all. You are the legends, you are the hero of our time, you are the champion of our time. God bless you all. Stay blessed. See you on my next post.